How did you all spend your summer? Now, I need you guys to raise your hand for this. How many of you spent time with your friends from home during summer? Traveled with your family? Went to summer school? Or even got a summer job? Okay, so there's a number of you for everything. That's all really great, and that's how I usually spend my summer too, doing all the typical stuff. But let me tell you what I actually did. I remember waiting in the hospital with a swollen knee and tearful eyes. That was a month after my ACL surgery last year. And when my mom asked me, "Where does it hurt?" I responded with my heart. I was so tired from the countless hours spent in the hospital and wanting to move like everyone else. In fact, in the past year, I've undergone 3 surgeries. 2 knee surgeries and a heart procedure. To the doctors, they're small procedures that they perform every other day. But to a teenage girl like me, those were major life challenges that required a strong mindset to push through, which is what I slowly learned and will share with you all today. As many of you know, I tore my ACL from skiing in Vancouver during spring break like 18 months ago. And all it took was a pile of snow and a tree. The thing is, a lot of people who get injured happen to be pros doing backflips down a double black. Me, I was just on the blue run for the first time, and really, I should have stayed on the green. Fast forward 3 months, I finally got my ACL reconstruction surgery. And for the first bit, I recovered very quickly until a complication arose and I lost all the progress I made. It was truly devastating. Those were dark times. My knee was so swollen that it took me from walking with the knee brace back onto crutches again. And in that moment, I had to brace myself for the worst because I knew that this setback was ugly and it was a hard pill to swallow. I'm sure all of you know what it feels like to pour tons of effort into an idea, a goal, or even a piece of work, only to watch it fall apart and having to start over again. This is where the setback tested my mentality and perseverance. I needed to embrace every part of this journey because I wanted to do the most for myself. That brings me to my first takeaway, which is to never rush a delicate process. Even though ACL surgeries are so common, everyone's experience is different. I really overworked and rushed myself because I was scared that if I didn't do a lot of rehab, I wouldn't be normal again. Now looking back, I really should have taken it one step at a time. During my time with the complication, we really tried everything to find answers, but nothing seemed to help, and surprisingly, not even my doctors. Even though I was already doing everything that I needed to do, like icing, heating, massaging, and rehab, things stayed the same way, and my situation for the future just wasn't looking bright. At that point, I didn't know how to stay hopeful anymore. Hope is something we all have, and it flickers just like a candlelight. It's a capricious thing that easily offers us sunlight, but also evaporates in an instant. I know you've all felt it, whether it's watching a sports playoff or walking into exam after an all-nighter. Hope is a strong driver, but here, hope faded for me, and this sadness wasn't something an ice cream or watching TV could fix. And you know what the worst part was? I got reminded every morning that I couldn't get anywhere without those crutches digging into my armpits and diminishing my hope. Then I realized that there was no easy way out, so I really had to believe that everything would get better, even if that meant gaslighting myself. So you know what I did? Not to be cliche, but I took a deep breath and repeated everything that I had to do, slower than before, one step at a time. Soon, I was told to take half the school year off. Now, for most of you, that sounds awesome. That is golden. But I didn't want to miss out. So now I had grades to look out for and places to be. And keep in mind, I was still hurting. So just like that, all the stress and struggles really accumulated to a breaking point, where self-encouragement and positivity just wasn't enough to survive Brentwood. I don't want to do this anymore. Before I knew it, I found myself flying 11 hours back home to get another knee surgery. I hated the idea of missing out on school and time with my friends, but I told myself there was nothing to do except to take things one step at a time, starting with the second surgery. A month and a half went by, and I was back in school, walking normally without crutches. Yes! Things started to get better, but in front of me was still a tedious recovery to face. I actually spent over a year in sports rehab, where all the injured people at school end up. I got really distracted when people talk about how quickly they return to their sport, when it took me months just to stand on both feet again. And I think it's quite universal to have felt that way too, whether it's in class, or in your sport, or in the gym, or even on the stage, when you always feel like people are progressing faster than you. But it's not that you're not working hard enough or not progressing at all. I had to remind myself that I needed to work at my own pace because everyone is different, and I had a second setback. So I took one step at a time, literally, leveled up one rehab exercise at a time, and got back into different activities, one step at a time. And look at where I am now. Looking back, I remember having days where I thought I couldn't continue anymore. I would wake up feeling overwhelmed with this deafening silence of helplessness. It felt like this thing that I was dealing with was bigger than me, bigger than my life, and that really tested my mental limits. Reflecting on the bright side, I learned a lot through this one experience, and gratitude is one big takeaway. Most people, including me, take their mobility for granted until you lose it. And my journey through this is a constant reminder to be grateful. I had an ACL injury when I was 15, and as horrible as it was for me, I know there are much bigger and worse things out there that people go through. Everyone's experience is unique, and from my journey, I learned to take things one step at a time. For me, grit was the ability to recover and work my way up after hitting rock bottom. It was showing up for myself every day, even when I didn't want to, doing the boring and repetitive work that nobody sees. And that persistence is grit. Getting those things done one step at a time will eventually allow you to take a big leap. So next time when you face a dull process, like when you're stuck on a math problem that you think everyone else has already solved, just slow down and do it step by step, one at a time. Thank you.